and welcome to this week's episode of the Amber Tree Wellness TV, your weekly dose of health and wellbeing. What I'm going to talk to you about today is something that most of us have experienced, I'm sure, at least once in our life. That is stress. So what is stress? Most of us think we know what it is, but what is it really? Stress is actually a chemical reaction which occurs in our body and a release of hormones, and has different physical reactions to different parts of our body. And why do we actually have this reaction? People think we know, well, if I wasn't stressed all the time, things would be great. Why do I keep doing this? It's there for a reason. We actually have these stress responses as protection mechanisms. When we were cavemen working this earth, we needed to be able to get away from threats. So if a saber-toothed tiger came along, we needed to be able to get away from it. And this is what we call the fight and flight response. So our body needs to be able to move really fast to get away from that tiger. So what happens is our heart pumps harder. It pushes all our blood out to our arms and legs so we could run as fast as we can. At the same time, it shuts down digestion. We don't need to be digesting our last meal if we don't want to be dinner for the tiger. It also stops us from going to sleep. It keeps us awake. We've got to be awake. We've got to get away from this tiger. And a few other things happen as well, and this will continue on. Now, the initial response is an adrenaline response, which we've all probably experienced, that adrenaline rush. But after time, adrenaline actually shuts down and the cortisol takes over. And cortisol continues to actually release, and it's a long-term stress hormone. It'll release every 12 seconds for as long as our body perceives it's under threat, and that could be years. So what does cortisol do? Well, it does the things that I mentioned before, increases our blood circulation, it shuts down our digestion, it actually lowers our immune system, it stops us from sleeping, and it also stores fat around the middle. So, and that's also comes from a protection, because once again, when we were cavemen, we didn't have 24-hour supermarkets where we could just rock up and get food anytime we liked. We actually had to go and find our food. And there were times when we didn't have food. So our bodies used to store that food for the times when we were in a famine, and we actually still had energy, and that's how we survived. Our bodies really haven't changed. Our genetic makeup hasn't changed from when we were cavemen. Our lifestyle has. So these days we're experiencing more and more stress because we're bombarded with so much information, we're taking on so much, we have so many choices. And people just feel as if there's this constant stuff going on all the time. And what can we do about it? Now, I'm going to talk to you today about how we can treat that herbally. There's lots of things we can do, but I'm just going to talk about the herbs, because there are some fantastic herbs that actually help your adrenal glands to recover. Because if you continue to go at this pace and your adrenal glands continues to produce this cortisol, eventually you get to exhaustion, and that's when you're so tired you can hardly move. Chronic fatigue, that's a sign of adrenal exhaustion. And the final step after that is death, and none of us want to go there. That's not the way you want to die. So what we do, we need to support these adrenal glands. So there's some really great herbs. Number one, fantastic herb, and this is really easy for you to get, and that is licorice. Licorice tea is available in most supermarkets around Australia. It's sold under the name Black Adder, but just get some licorice tea. Licorice is a fantastic adrenal herb, and when I talk about licorice, I'm not talking about the lolly. I'm talking about real licorice root. So if you like the taste of licorice, licorice tea is great for you. Withania is another fantastic herb, and you can get that in health food stores. Rhodiola is another herb. Siberian ginseng, Panax ginseng, all really good herbs to help support the adrenal glands. If you want to know more about herbs and dosings and things like that, teas are fine and you can drink these as teas, but if you actually want them in higher doses and high concentrations, visit a naturopath or a herbalist who knows the right type of herbs and the right doses and can actually mix you a formula that suits your circumstances. So let me know, have you tried herbs to manage your stress? How have you found them? Have you found that they actually work? They're fantastic. I find them fantastic. They really make a big difference. You need to get the right herbs though. If you're not getting the right herbs for the way you're feeling, then sometimes they aren't quite as effective. Leave some comments down below. Feel free to share this video with other people. I want lots of people to learn how they can manage stress using herb teas. And thanks for listening to me. Until next week, thank you very much. Bye.